in this tutorial, we're going to look at the image tag. So we're going to insert images into our web page. So if we just run this web page at the moment, this is what it looks like. Adding images, that's all I've just put a title in there using a simple page tag. And what I'm going to do is insert an image onto that screen. Okay, so first thing we need to do is in our HTML folder or a folder where we're saving we need to make sure that image is there. So here's my image, it's a wallpaper. I've noticed if I check this now file, if you see it's a JPEG file. Okay, so it's key that you remember or know what type of file it is. Okay, sometimes people tend to, or the best practice to do is to put images in a separate folder called images, and that's where it will appear. Okay, so it's away from the HTML files and inside a separate folder. So I'm going to show you both ways on how to insert that image. Now, if the image is in the same file as a folder, okay, what you do is insert a tag, image tag, so img. So that follows by src. What src stands for source, meaning where can we source or where can we get this image from. So you need to give the locate or the name of the image. So source equals, and then what we named it. So it's wallpaper.jpg and end quotation and end that image. Click save. So what that's done, image source wallpaper.jpg. Remember I said you need to find out what type of file that is, because that file could be a SVG, which is a scalable vector graphic. It could be a PNG or even a BMP. Okay, so you need to figure out firstly, for that file to work, you need to figure out or work out what type of file it is. Mine is a JPG, so I'm going to save it as a JPG. Now, if I save that and run that now to view it, okay, that image has now appeared. Okay, it's appeared a bit too large. However, it's appeared. So what I need to do is I need to make it smaller. So to make it smaller, I'm going to come into my style tag or my CSS at the top or in my head of my HTML document, and I'm going to type in, sorry, I'm going to do img followed by the curly brackets, and in these curly brackets I'm going to change the height. Well, I'm going to add the height property, which is the height of the actual image. I'm going to do, let's do 800. No, let's do, yeah, 600 pixels. And the width, and that will be, let's make the width, oh, that's to be bigger than that, 600, 800 pixels, yeah? Now, if you refresh that screen, we've saved it. Now the image has gone smaller. Okay, so that's worked perfectly. Let's make that 400 to make it. Okay, it's 800 by 400. So I've individually changed that image. Now, remember I said to you, wallpaper, it depends on which way you use it. Ideally, it's better to have images inside an image folder. Now, how you would do that, you do exactly the same. img, then src. However, this time, what you will do is do img slash wallpaper.jpg. And close that off. Okay, spelled wallpaper wrong. Okay, so if you notice now I've done img forward slash wallpaper.jpg. The reason is this time the source, rather than being in the same folder, the source is inside a folder called images, and it's a file called wallpaper. So it's telling the HTML document that's where you can find that image that I want to display. Now if we refresh that, if you look at our screen, we should have two images, one below each other. Excellent. So we've got these two images below each other. So now we want to create a separation between the two. So what we're going to do is go back to our script, and we're just going to put a BR in there. So what that BR represents is a break. So a break, if you want to leave a gap between two elements, you just put BR in there. So now you see two different image sizes. I'm going to make them slightly smaller. Make that 3 and make that 6. Okay, the reason I'm going to do that is so I can fit them both on the screen. And when I do the next part now, which is put a border around these, you can see them a lot more clearer. So to put a border around an image, what you need to do is enter the property border slash width. Okay, what this does is it's the thickness. This represents the thickness of the border. So I'm going to do mine 20 pixels. Then there's border hyphen color, and for that I'm gonna do, let's do blue, and the final one, border hyphen style. So this is the style of the border you want. So I'm gonna do mine as solid. So keep it simple, solid. Now hopefully should be a border around it. Excellent. So now you've got two borders around both of those images. Okay. I know both images are doing the same, and individually you may want them to be two different ones. But for now, let's just look at two different borders. Okay. Also, if you want to add a curve to your border, you can add border hyphen radius. Now, well, and we'll make that 20 pixels. Now, if you notice, your corners of your border will now be more curved. So the higher that number, let's make it 40, the stronger that curve will be. As you can see, a curve on it, border radius, and it's curved now further. Okay, so that's border radius. I'm just going to remove that for now. Okay, so now it's border style. Now notice the border, I said the border style is solid. There's other styles you can do. There's dotted, which looks like that. Then there's dashed, looking like that. And there's also ridge, which is the one I like, which is a 3D type effect. Okay, it looks like, can you see it's slightly scaled inwards or going inwards to represent like a frame, 3D frame. Okay, so that's a ridge, R-I-D-G-E. Okay, so that's the border width and how to put a border around an image. Now, if you know it, okay, what we could do is we can have multiples. So we've got border top, we've got right, bottom, and left. Now, if we want to change the size of these individually, what we can do is 20 pixels. So the first value that's in, it's for the top, followed by, just like a clock, 3 would come afterwards. So 3 would be the right. So if we wanted to make that 10 pixels, then the bottom we wanted to make, let's say, 0 pixels, and then the left we want to make it 10 pixels. We save that. Now individually, as you can see, now the bottom border is gone, the left and right has slightly individually changed. So that's a good way of individually changing the sides of a border without actually having to write individual properties. So instead of writing border bottom, border left, border top, you can actually do them all in one go. Okay, the same thing you can do with color. So blue, red, nothing, oh sorry, red, white, and then followed by red. Save. Okay, same way. That changes color according to each side. Same with the border style. Ridge, dash, dotted, solid. Okay, if we check that out now, as you can see, each of them, each individual border. So this is something you can play around or manipulate with the image borders. Also, sometimes opposites you can do, if you want the opposites to match. So I want the top and the bottom to be both ridge, and left and right to be both dashed. What I can do for that is ridge and then followed by dashed. So the first value is always top and bottom, or top, sorry, as you know, the first value is always top. So the opposite of top is bottom. So ridge for top and bottom, dash for left and right. Save that. Okay, as you can see, it's done that. Reason you can't see the bottom is because remember you changed the pixels. So we can do the same thing again over here as well. So 20 pixels top and bottom, 10 for left and right. We check that out. Okay, it's done that. Top and bottom, left and right. Okay, so that's something you can manipulate or do with borders. Same with the radius. So what was the property? Border radius, to put a curve on the edge. You can do 40 pixels and 0 pixels. So what that does now is puts a curve on only 2 of them rather than all 4 corners. Okay, so that's an image tag and how you would individually change the properties. Now, If you notice, both images are exactly the same. So now, once again, as we've seen in the previous video, or you may have seen earlier, you use a class tag. So using the class tag, what we can do is create our own individual class. So class new border, and what we can do, just to make life easier, I'm going to copy these and paste them into there. Okay, so it's saving me having to type all that again. What we're going to do, change the height of this one. So let's make that 400 by 800. Save that. Change the borders. So get rid of blue, possibly get rid of red. Make it all ridge. Okay, so now I've made individual borders. Now, if you notice, if I refresh that, it will remain the same because I haven't added the class yet. So what I need to do is add the class image class equals, and what do I name it? New border. Okay, once I've done new border, if I check that out now and refresh the screen, that okay, that class is now added to that image. So now, no matter how many images you add, you can actually apply this class to those images. So if I just go here, now if I type in just image, img, src equals wallpaper.jpg. Okay, so if I add that now, okay, by default it will become this size. But if I add that new class to it, there we add the new class. So class, okay, let's do the second one, this one here. So class, actually let's do it to the first one. Okay, class equals new border, save, and now that should have two of them. So two of them the same size, one smaller. Okay, so that's creating custom classes or adding custom classes to images.